Good morning. My name is Reverend Ed Tansey, and I, along with Reverend George Stewart, who likes to be called Rev G, are the spiritual leaders of Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston, located on 50 Dudley Street in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Please go to our website, cslboston.org, to find out more about our community and how it can support you and how you can support us. Okay? The Centers for Spiritual Living's 2018 theme is 100 Years of Science of Mind. January's theme is Living the Science of Mind. And today's talk is Thinking Affirmatively. Thinking affirmatively. So in the last few weeks, Rev G and myself have been including in our talks information about the creative process. The understanding of how it works is extremely important and extremely beneficial regarding our lives because its workings have so much to do with the creation of our reality. Seed or thought, soil or the law, the creative medium, the plant or the manifestation. What manifests in our lives are the thoughts, seeds, that we think. We have so many thoughts in a day that cross our mind. And my question is, why doesn't all of the thoughts manifest or show up in our lives? Why? We don't focus on them. As we know, thank you for that, the thoughts that manifest are the ones that we give our attention to and the energy and feelings and concentration on. All other thoughts that cross our mind just kind of float away, like floating down the river. So if I put my energy and my attention and my concentration to thoughts of lack, it's lack that shows up in my life. And if I put my energy and attention on the concentration of the abundance and prosperity and joy, it's the abundance, the prosperity, and the joy that shows up in my life, etc., etc. So, it's the law or the creative medium that is always working to provide us with what we impress upon it. Remember, it's neutral, it's impersonal, and I say it's really like our butler or maid or servant. Wouldn't you all love one of them? Well, you do have one. It's in the creative medium. Because whatever you request or impress upon it, it is always answering with a yes. Yes, here it is, what you're asking for. It is yours. So you see, that what we impress is like our request to the servant, and it provides. So here is a quote I want to share with you, and I'm sure you've heard this before, by Ernest Holmes. Life is a mirror, and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. So remember, the law, which is part of the creative process, is always working even when you think it is not working. It is always, always working. So because of that, I invite you to impress only positive thoughts and words upon the law, upon the creative medium. Now, I've now included words along with thoughts because to me, it is the words are extensions or outward manifestations of all our thoughts and our beliefs. So our words are produced from those beliefs and thoughts. So here are two examples how words have an impact on our reality or could have an impact upon reality. The first example is a true story. In my prison ministry, a detainee said to me when I first met him, "I am never getting out of this joint." Now, since working with the science of mind philosophy, he no longer says that at all to me. Because that's a very limiting statement. He now turns to me and says, when I leave this joint. And I say, yay. Good for him, because he's understanding the creative process, and we both know that he will get out of that joint. And the second example that I have is this. If you think that I am going to have a magnificent day, I'm going to tell you the likelihood of that happening is very, very high for the person who makes that declaration. Okay? Now, wouldn't you rather hear someone say, or wishing someone a great day, a happy birthday, a glorious vacation, an excellent school year, rather than the opposite? Have a bad day. Have a miserable birthday. Have an inglorious day. I'm feeling heavy even just saying it. Have a poor school year. Like, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of that? So, we could unconsciously accept others' thoughts and beliefs. So you might have heard us refer to that as race consciousness, which are all of the beliefs and thoughts since the beginning of time. Now, I'm going to get back to race consciousness a little later. I invite you to keep in mind that the words we use are the ones that only empower us, not disempower us. Words that uplift and raise each one of us, not setting us up for failure. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure. So you all have the choice. Isn't that wonderful? You all have the choice in this. Now, last week, Reverend G mentioned the formula for spiritual mind treatment. Okay? Now, there's a little different, something different here. See if anyone remembers from last week. So it says spiritual mind treatment in creative process formula. C plus B equals A. What we can conceive plus what we can believe equals what we can achieve. So does anyone know what difference is on this slide? I'll tell you. I've added the creative process to it. I believe that science, spiritual mind treatment, and the creative process has to do with very positive ways of thinking, of praying, and of speaking. Okay? So today's title, Thinking Affirmatively, is about one of the tools we use to be aware of the words we speak, the beliefs and thoughts we entertain, and the process we use to create our world, to create our reality. So another Ernest Holmes quote is, "Man by thinking can bring into his experience whatsoever he desires, if he thinks correctly and becomes a living embodiment of his thoughts." So when you stand firmly in the belief that you already have what you desire, the power for good will bring it to you. On the other hand, when you stand firmly in the belief that you don't have what you desire and that you are lacking, guess what? The power of the law brings that to you. It brings upon you what you impress on it. Okay? So, in our Beyond Limits class, that many of you have taken, I'm going to share with you a short snippet of what is written about Ernest Holmes. Okay? This comes right from the class. Ernest Holmes, on a small Maine farm, the youngest of 9 sons of William and Anna Holmes, with devoted, intelligent parents, the boys were very happy. They were unaware of their poverty. There was a series of financial disasters that forced the family to live what you would call a nomadic life. And that happened for several years. They eventually settled in Bethel, Maine, where Ernest received his only formal education, and that's where he encountered his first actual church. And at this church, hellfire preaching was sometimes heard. And he, Ernest Holmes, said later, and I quote this, "Fortunately, I was brought up by a mother who refused to have fear taught to her family." So you see, Ernest's mother was planting the seeds of positive thinking for her family. And that seed became strongly implanted in them, growing up with this consciousness in their home, even when they were living in an abandoned farmhouse in Maine. The brothers really didn't know how poor they were. So in our philosophy, it is said that thoughts are things. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. All right, thoughts are things. So here's another quote. We can practice, and this came, by the way, from Living the Science of Mind. We can practice believing because thoughts are things. And when we say, I believe, and there is no doubt in me, we're doing two things. We affirm our belief, and by doing so, build a positive acceptance in the mind. Very key. A positive acceptance in the mind. And at the same time, we reject our doubts by denying them. Okay? So, thinking affirmatively, using affirmations, affirming and declaring, they're also very powerful tools that so affect our reality. And again, why does this happen? Why does it happen? Because of what? The creative process and the workings of the law, the creative medium. Look at all the power. Look at all the power that each of us have. Each of us in this room and each of us throughout the cosmos. We each have the power to co-create the life that we live. This life, having all of the good, having the greatness, and all of the desires we so choose to experience, people. You are the captain, you are the conductor, you are the orchestrator, the architect of all of your experiences. So, having been given choice as a child of the divine, I ask you to use it wisely in your thoughts, in your beliefs, and in your thinking affirmatively. You know, there are so many old tapes that run in our minds, let's say from even our younger days. Now, some of these old tapes are affirmative, right? While some are not affirming. Would you agree on that? So no matter if they are positive or negative, it doesn't matter how long you have had these tapes or how long they've existed. You are never stuck with them. You're not stuck with the old tapes. You can keep the ones that are working nicely for you, and you can change the ones that are not working nicely for you. Remember, all that matters is now, the present. This is where your power is, people, right here and right now. Now, I quote this from You Can Heal Your Life, from beloved Louise Hay. The point of power is always in the present moment. You are never stuck. This is where the changes take place, right here and right now in our minds. It doesn't matter how long we've had a negative pattern or an illness or a poor relationship of lack of finances or self-hatred. We can begin to make a shift today. Remember, you are the only person who thinks in your mind. You are the power and authority in your world. Doesn't that make you feel good? It brings me to a level of, whoa. So for me, what this quote is doing, it reinforces that in my reality, my vibrational experience, I am the only one who has that power and authority and responsibility to do what is best for me. Here are 3 Bible quotes I think that fit here very nicely. Okay? The first one. "And all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive." That comes from Matthew chapter 21, verse 22. The second quote, "Decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Job chapter 22, verse 28. And these are the ones that come from the parable of the seed by Mark. "And these are the ones sown on the good soil. They hear the word and accept it and bear fruit, 30 and 60 and 100-fold. That again came from Mark chapter 4, verse 20. So we know that living our life is a prayer. It really is. And that the divine wants all of its creations to experience heaven right here and right now. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right here in the present. All of the magic, all of the beauty, all of the abundance and magnificence that is ours to experience. All of the good people that we desire, please remember, is already there for us. You have to open yourself up and be receptive to it. So my question is that how come people don't have all of these? Some people might not experience all of the grandeur and the greatness and the magic of life and in their environments. What's the bottom line?
Because they don't pay attention to it. They don't focus on having that in their life.
So what do they have to focus on? The what? One word. The thoughts. Thoughts. Okay. It has to do with our thoughts and our thinking and our beliefs. So the sum total of our thoughts is either attracting, that what you said earlier, Carol, in your reading. I said, oh, did you get the same thing? All right. It's really the thoughts. They're either attracting or repelling our good from us. Now, this includes both conscious and unconscious thoughts. Did you know that approximately 90% of our thinking is unconscious? So because of that number being so high, I really believe it would behoove all of us to discover our unconscious mental patterns and consciously change them. This is where race consciousness is affecting our lives if we are not accepting divine truth and instead believing in human truth. So, thinking affirmative thoughts of love, of friendship, of kindness, of compassion, first within, will attract the love, the friendships, the kindness, the compassions in your outer world. Think it and then be it. think it and be it, and then you will see it and experience it. Conceive it, believe it, and achieve it. Making sense?
Yep.
So, in my garden, now my garden, I've said this before, isn't in my yard, it's in my mind. In my garden, thinking affirmatively, to me, is like the seed and the fertilizer I use so that my garden will produce the plants I want to experience in my life. I'd rather experience beautiful bouquets other than a bunch of weeds. It's totally up to you. I always remember this, that I can change my thinking, and in doing so, cause the law of mind to act affirmatively, to bring me my good. I am changing both my unconscious and conscious thinking. To me, this is the foundation, people. This is the stronghold on how I create all the good that I want to experience in my life. Okay? So affirmations are a very powerful tool that one can use to retool their subconscious. Okay? Now, a person who really brought about affirmations to the forefront of common usage was, does anyone know? Louise Hay. She brought it to the forefront. She is the founder of Hay House, and she has been such an uplifting spiritual being for all of humanity. Now, in chapter 16 of her book, You Can Heal Your Life, her own story is told. So, in short, I want you to hear this. She had a childhood that was affected by abuse and poverty. And this caused her to believe, I can't even imagine, just think of this. It caused her to believe that she was not deserving and she was worthless. And as she grew up, even though she was a famous model and she was also married to a very wealthy businessman, that had no effect on shifting her beliefs of her worthlessness and not being deserving. As life went on, she found the science of mind philosophy, and that's where her shift began. As she learned, she could change her life by changing her thinking and her beliefs about herself and attract all the good that she desired. You know, she also became a religious science minister. Okay, just a little bit of Louise Hay. Now, a diagnosis of cancer led her to the deep inner work required to releasing the lifelong patterns of resentment, of blame, and begin to truly heal. So, you know, many people there are so many people who come from that place of unworthiness and deserving. Anybody in here? I know I did. Oh, big time, big time. Louise Hay, such a remarkable woman, was also there with her negative beliefs. Then because of the inner work that she did, I feel she was like the phoenix, rising from the ashes and leaving behind the negative thoughts and beliefs and rising to all the good in her life. So I strongly believe in the power of thinking affirmatively and affirmations. Since my own experience with the diagnosis of cancer that I had June 30th of last year, I just want to share with you 4 affirmations that I really feel were some of the major reasons that after I went through the operation and all of this, and I had my PET scan and everything came back cancer-free, I really believe these 4 affirmations were key for that beautiful result that I had when I got my results from that test. So the first affirmation, every breath I take brings more wholeness to my body. Second one, God has my cells and well-being. Third, my world is recreated by my inner spiritual awareness of the action of God in my life. And the fourth one is the following. I am guided and know clarity to any additional inner work to be completed and for a successful and peace-filled surgery. So my charge to all of you is, one, be aware of the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs you entertain in your mind. Second charge, choose affirmative words when speaking. Thirdly, remember that the creative process is always working with either your good thoughts or negative thoughts, creating your reality. Remember, the law is responding according to your beliefs and feelings, all that you impress upon it. And 5, know that you are a powerful, deserving being of all the good that the universe has to offer. Namaste. Thank you. So, now it's time for our affirmation. Yes, there it is. Love that screen. Yeah. Okay, let's all say this together. I claim and affirm that I am worthy, capable, and loved. Who I am is enough. I approve of myself. And this was written by Reverend Dr. Linda Rappaport. How do you say it? Rapon. She's the minister at the launching pad. So let's say this all together and with some feeling. I love this affirmation. I claim and affirm that I am worthy, capable, and loved. Who I am is enough. I approve of myself. And so it is.
So it is.
And Penny will do our spiritual mind treatment this morning.
So, I just invite you to join with me in the spiritual mind treatment this morning. So the purpose of this treatment is for each one to become aware of their ability to choose affirmative thoughts. That there is one mind that is thinking eternally, the creative mind that has brought forth all of this exquisite world, all the seen and unseen. This one source, substance, and supply, this thought of itself, the thought to know itself as more love, more joy, more beauty, more abundance. It's blessed givingness in every moment, in every breath, is this thought of itself. It's exquisite, extraordinary, magnificent, divine essence. This is the world, all of the world. And I am one with this thought. With this thought of love and joy and peace and beauty. Abundance. It is who I am. And as I know this about myself, I know this about each one present here today. Each one is part of this thought of love and joy and peace and beauty and abundance. This essence is who each one is. And in this place of absolute unification, I speak this word, I declare this truth. There is one thought, one mind, the same mind that was in Christ Jesus. The thought of the possible. This is the availability in each moment, in each affirmative thought. Each one partakes of the very essence of who they are, the very intentional purpose of their presence here on earth. This affirmation of life, this creative process that has brought forth each divine, magnificent creation of the one. Each one is this. Each one is a worthy expression of this extraordinary mind. This creative process that exists in, as, and through each one as the law of mind in action supports each one. This free will that exists eternally, compelling each one to choose it. Each one says yes to the sacredness, the sacred I amness of who they are, because of the realization that affirmative thought changes everything about life. Each one says yes to the love, the peace, the joy, the wonder, the absolute abundant nature of who they are. This is the truth. This is who each one is. And in this place of gratitude to stand here today, anchored and rooted in this truth, I release this word into the law of love that gives eternally before it is even asked. I say amen, and together we say, and so it is.